Cancer Care West is a not-for-profit organisation and a West of Ireland charity. Up to a few years ago, patients from the West travelled to Dublin for radiotherapy services and treatment. When this service opened in Galway, the need for accommodation for patients travelling long distances became apparent. For this reason, Cancer Care West opened a residence called Inish Even beside Galway University Hospital in 2007. This offers a home from home for patients and their families. Recognising the need for psychological and support services, Cancer Care West then opened its new Cancer Support Centre in 2009. Cancer Care West is committed to supporting those whose lives have been affected by cancer. This is the story of 4 individuals who have used these services.
My name is Caroline Harney. I'm 34 years old. I was born and raised in Dublin. I went to school in Rathmines, and when I finished school I decided to become a watchmaker. For some crazy reason I thought I might be able to make loads of money and travel and stuff like that. I lived in Cork for a year and I worked down there to learn how to repair clocks, because clocks weren't really covered in the course. So after my time there I came back to Dublin and worked in Weir's on Grafton Street. I was the first female watch repairer in 130 years to ever step foot into the place.
You came from England originally?
Yes, from Durham, which is a coal mining area, and lived in a little 2 up, 2 down, the toilet out in the yard and the back street we used to play in, and went from there, got a scholarship and went to school in the next big town and decided I wanted to nurse. So went to Durham City to do my state registration nursing, and actually that's how I met my husband. He got sick, which was lucky for both of us, I suppose.
I live here, obviously, in Barnaby, Balladreen, in County Roscommon. I like riding out horses well, I've liked doing it for years, but like I was working away and I don't know, living life and had my job and all that, and you just didn't have time. We always had horses in our house, and I kind of got back into it again in a big way. I bought my daughter a pony, and he's been out on the road now about say 6 or 8 times. This particular young pony, and he's coming on a treat, you know. So he's going to be a real good one, I'd say, for my young daughter. Like.
I did a BSc in NUIG, and when I'd finished the BSc, I worked in the university. So I went to Germany for a year and worked there. I ended up working in the Avon factory in Germany, capping bottles. I had no office skills. I just felt at a certain stage I needed more, so I went back into NUIG and did the dip. While I was supervising exams, I got some subbing in the GMIT, lecturing in food science, which I loved. That was my favourite job.
I suppose I was never sick. I just kind of I was passing blood is what started my worry and stuff like first. So of course I thought, must be something I ate at first for a week or so, and I thought, geez, it didn't go away, and I suppose it only got a bit worse. So I thought I better go to the doctor, and went to the doctor after maybe a week or 2. I did get diagnosed within a couple of weeks of having bowel cancer, they call it. They kind of sorted it out that I would get my treatment in Galway and stay in Cancer Care West. And it was kind of done for me, and of course when it was time to go up there I was all grand, yes, let's get it sorted. And when it was time to go then I was thinking, geez, going uphill now, I'm going to be on my own all week.
I found a painful lump on my left breast, and I wasn't really worried about it at the time. Being breast aware was something that we would have always been brought up with my mother's family, and you know, there was no issues about it. So about 2-3 weeks later, then I went to my GP. I thought it was a blocked milk duct after feeding Alex, and my GP thought the same because it was sore and where it was located. He sent me for a biopsy. So this brought me, I had my biopsy in December, the middle of December. Still not really concerned, thought it was, you know, there's no history of breast cancer or any cancers really in the family. We were more heart attack people, you know. So I had the biopsy done and had Christmas, didn't give it a second thought. We went back to Mullingar on the 4th of January, and Shane came with me, and like that, after sitting in the waiting room and having a laugh nearly about this, we were called in, and we still had to wait for the main doctor, surgeon. So he told me, he basically just said it was bad news, and I had to ask him to elaborate on that, to tell me exactly what the bad news was, and then he told me it was cancer.
Within a year, I'd lost my 2 best friends and my husband, so it was kind of pretty tough going. And she was always the one who would be pale and calm, and I'd have these 2 red cheeks. Do you know, if you're under pressure, I can't, and I was pale, and my daughter said for me to go to the doctor, and so they said I'd need to go and have investigations. So I went, and I, under protest, I must say, and the doctor, I can see his face here now laughing at me. And I was saying, the morning that I was actually having the colonoscopy, I was waiting in the corridor, and I was saying, you know, this is ridiculous. You know, I said, I don't mind at all, but I said, you know, it's a complete waste of time and money. Somebody else that needs this could have this. He said to me, well, seeing as you're here, you might as well come in. And he came down afterwards. And he came in the door of the room I was in, and I knew just to look at him.
There was a woman who I know here who had been going through treatment just a little bit ahead of me, and she drove back and forward every day to Galway for her radiotherapy. And I just thought, I can't do that, you know, really, it's going to be hard. And when we were in UCHG being measured up for the radiotherapy, someone mentioned about inishavine, and you know, that could be an option, that they had residents there for people who are going through this and have to travel, that they can stay.
The first time, yeah, when I went down, and I was so scared to go in the door in Inisheven. See, mine was in Inisheven the first time I went in. And I was walking up and down for a while outside, and there were these stone carved seats, and then eventually I went in the door.
I didn't think it would be a new building. I thought maybe it was an old section from the hospital that they had said, we'll stick a few beds in here, you know. I thought it would be more hospital-like, and I thought it'd be a bit more dreary, you know. I had visions of like a state-run sort of institute that didn't really hold an awful lot of hope. And then to see this big new building, freshly painted, and oh yeah, that looks quite good, and a little meandering pathway through a garden up to the door, and you know, to go into quite a modern entrance, and there was a couple of the nurses at the reception, and it was warm. I can remember the plants, and there was cards already, thank you cards already lined up on the little counter at the side. And like that, you were greeted with a welcoming smile rather than a question mark. It didn't have a chemical sort of cleanliness to it that you would expect from a hospital, or that I probably had been used to from all my previous treatments and stuff like that. You know, like the nurses, they had their white gowns on and stuff, but it didn't have that sort of nursey doctor type of hospital feel to it. It was like sort of a country retreat home. It wasn't a hotel. A hotel is too chemical a word. It was more homely than that.
You have your own room, and there was 2 beds in it, so like if you could have people stay with you, you know, like a friend or whatever staying with you. I know there was men and wife used to stay there together, you know, one of them would be having treatment and one of them would be just staying for support or whatever. And it was fantastic, and you could come down in the morning, get your breakfast, go and have your treatment. If you were nice and early, you could have your breakfast, go and have your treatment, and go uptown shopping, or just go uptown walking around, or just go back to your bed, do whatever you wanted to do. It was totally left up to yourself.
My treatment was in the morning, so I think I had been checked in and had my room sorted and everything, say by about 10:30 that morning. So I was like, what do I do with myself now, you know, after, I suppose, being used to always having something to plan with dinners and kids and stuff, it was like, okay, I'm not too sure. And it was at the stage when the weather was good, the sun was shining, so I said, right, I'm going to go for a little ramble and find my bearings and see what's around. But, you know, I had such fun. We laughed so much. There was card games, there was music sessions, we danced. You know, you discussed politics, watched TV, and, you know, you had all walks of life. I was probably one of the youngest there. And you had people into their 80s, and some people had been through all this before and it had come back, and this was their second time round.
I'm not kidding you. I'm telling you everything straight up. I never told a word of lie in my life. Not the fact that I might even get a room and he has to put the rest of my life.
It's that good, is it?
It's that good. It is that good.
It's grace and beauty both combined.
You know, it was fantastic. It really was fantastic. There was such a sense of togetherness and a spirit of, well, you know, okay, we're here for this reason, but yeah, we'll get through it and we'll have a laugh while we're doing it.
Won't you forget me now?
In the evening, then all the patients or all the people used to just come down, and we'd be all sat round in the living room, and certain nights then there'd be like music nights or whatever, and anyone that was visiting you could also come and join in this, and it'd be just like a big get together, you know, but it was on every night.
It was kind of ridiculous, really, that it was nearly like a Butlins holiday camp, but for people with cancer and of all ages, you know. I'm sure if anyone was to look in at us, they would have thought we were cracked.